Hey, hello, everybody, and welcome to Art First. How is it going, Brian? Happy Friday. Good to see you, man. Good to be back. How are you?
Yeah, happy Friday. It's good to be back. It's been a couple weeks. We did a lot of traveling. I went to Mexico with the family, and then I went to Lisbon for NFC Summit, which was a wonderful time last week. And yeah, it's fun getting back into the groove of things, back into my regular time zone. And yeah, I think, lots of really cool drops happening and
So
cool
many
things happening
drops.
in the space. So it's been a
So many
fun one.
drops. It feels a little. I don't want to say, but it feels a little bit like art season. Or at least some of these larger projects that are coming out that are artist backed and not just sort of a random. No, nobody knows who's doing anonymous like PFP type stuff. You got Brain Rot from Nuclear Samurai is pretty awesome and doing well. Cirque's picking up steam, going crazy with normies. We had F dot, with
Mhm.
glyphs is out there. I don't know. It's just it
Yeah.
feels it feels good even when ETH is took a nosedive. Like the art feels good right now, which is saying something, I think. So
I agree. And it was fun. I saw all three of them at Lisbon, and even F Dots, I got to see him mid mint. And it's always, it's fun doing drops where you get to like share in the experience with the artists and have that moment in real time, as opposed to just sitting at your computer in the quiet watching the numbers go. So it
it
was
is
it was
nice,
great
right?
to everybody was feeling great, and great to see those guys.
It is. That's cool, man. And you had a great show in Lisbon. Like I was not there, but it looked amazing. So
Thank you.
congrats on that, man. And yeah, it's been exciting to see. And speaking of just things that are exciting to see and trying to keep up with the daily releases, because it is getting a little bit ridiculous in a good way. Like I'm like I can't stay on top of mints, but one of the ways that I can stay on top of mints is with our guests' help. So today I'm excited to welcome to the show independent curator, digital art advisor, and all around super dude, Stephen Miller. Welcome to the show, buddy. How are you? Hey.
What's going on, guys?
I feel like
Ooh.
you're the master of intros, so I hope Adam did you well enough.
Oh, he
I
did.
sounded, I think you did great.
I try, man. I try. This is what they pay me for. That's my job. But man, welcome to the show, dude. A fellow host of shows and sharer of art. Man, you are you're out there doing so much for the community. So thank you personally, as you've supported me, but for everybody, because one of the biggest problems in the space, I think most of us can agree, is finding artists, right? And like discovery and knowing what's happening and when, especially when things heat up like they are right now, and you're just like, what's going on? And you are somebody who takes the time to do that on a daily basis. So why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of like what you do in this space, because I think it's unique in that the way that you help out.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to, and I really appreciate you guys having me on the show today. I'm excited to kind of dive deep with you in a couple of different drops and talk a little bit more about how, at least in my opinion, we need more lanes to kind of fix art discovery. That's kind of been my big plug from the jump. Is like I found that one of the biggest issues that we suffer from here is a glaring lack of resources when it comes to art discovery, especially when it comes to new releases. It's impossible to aggregate everything. And I know that I make it look like I'm aggregating everything, but I still miss, which is hysterical to me all the time. But with what I do on a weekly basis, I put out a weekly digest that's called the Patronage, and that drops every single Monday, and it covers all the upcoming releases over the course of the next 30 days. So I do a full outlook. I keep track of everything. I update everything as new details come available, just to make sure everybody's informed. And then apparently overwhelmed because it's a shitload of information. And then I typically, when I do my uploads, I'll include a spotlight graphic to kind of give people not a Reader's Digest version of it, but like a view of the collections that really caught my eye on a given week. It's kind of one of the cheat codes that I don't really talk about a ton when it comes to Patronage, like in terms of why certain collections make the leader graphic, but that's why they do. So I do that to make it a little bit easier for people to be like, okay, what are maybe the 5 or the 4 collections that I really need to take a look at this week? You should look at all of it. But if you really want the easy way, that's the easy way. But then on Tuesdays, I do a show called Color Commentary, where I sit down with incredible artists like the two of you and get to chat about, releases that you have coming up, releases that you have ongoing, things like that. So I do a lot of that throughout the week and support a number of other artists throughout the week in like an advisory capacity, if you will. But to me, it's all just about bringing more eyes to the space and helping people to get their work discovered. That to me is like the biggest thing that we need right now. So that's why I do what I do.
That's amazing, man. And I think you also, you put it out there, you make it easy for artists to help you help them, right? Like sort of help me help you. Like in your post, you say, here, look, this is the format. Send me what you've got going on, and I'll include it, right? Like I think that's another huge part of this is that it is not just something that needs to or should be on any one person like you, but open it up to the community that they can submit to you, if I'm not mistaken, right? In terms of, hey, if you got something going on, here's how you can be involved.
Yeah, I try to make that really, really well known, and I applaud the 5 artists that have actually sent me their shit over the course of the last like 3 years I've been doing
me
this.
not included.
Me included.
Yeah, I'm always terrible at letting you know about things early.
Worst.
Dude, it's so funny because like I sit here with it every single week and I'm like, I'm gonna continue to put this as like one of the replies in the thread so that people do see it. They either never do or they just never take the initiative to actually get their stuff seen. They just assume I'm gonna capture everything.
Yeah. But
and you do, to be fair.
He does really do a good job. It makes it like, the argument against it is tough. But it's good to know. I want our audience to know that, like, if you're an artist and you're out there and you may not be as well known and you want to get into the mix, I think this is a perfect place to do this because you have a bunch of subscribers, you have a lot of eyes on this, on these, and the more people who do it, the better the discovery is. And especially name recognition is a big deal, right? Name and visuals, and like when you keep seeing the same name, you're after a little while, you're like, all right, well, who is this person? What are they doing? So I can't stress that enough that just repetition is important for showing up. That's what showing up looks like, right?
Yeah, the other piece that I feel like I need to mention for people because they may be wondering this, it's free. I don't charge for this. So if you want to go and get this information in your inbox every week, feel free to sign up for the newsletter. If you don't want it and you just want to get it through X, go check it out on X. I syndicate it on both platforms so that everybody can see it. So I want to make sure that that's out there for everybody to know.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible, honestly. What got you to do this project in general, right? Like what coming in not being an artist, right, but being curating, collecting, loving the art, and then seeing the problem and trying to solve it. Other people have definitely seen the problem, but then turned around and said, well, that's too bad, and walked away. What made you kind of like click and say, I can be the change here, I can fix this, or try to?
I mean, to me, it really goes back to a bigger piece of my own history. And like, there's a couple of things that just kind of were cumulative to this. When I came out of school back in, God, I hate saying this because it's been 10 years, 2015. I wanted to start a business, got to live that dream alongside my dad. And after 4 or so years, I decided it's time for me to move on and do my own thing. So having lived one dream and kind of brought my father into the mix, I started looking around for like what was next. And it took me 3 or 4 years from that point to realize after, running my own branding agency and doing a couple of other really big things along the way, like getting into crypto by taking on like a COO position for a media company. All of those experiences kind of led me to figuring out that the next big thing that I wanted to take on was really not focusing on chasing a dollar, but instead chasing impact. And I saw that through the eyes of my mother, who's an artist. I started to see the struggle that she went through every single day, not on X, not being a digital artist, just being an artist, period. When it comes to getting her art out there and being seen. I thought that was one of the most interesting challenges that artists face right now in the modern day and age, even with social media being what it is. So all of those experiences kind of came to a head when I had that realization that that's what I wanted to do. And I always give one other person a whole lot of credit for helping me get to that epiphany moment, and that's Eric Calderon, Snowfro, because when I was running that media company with my buddy, I made a pitch to my partner. I was like, "Hey, I need to go out and cover the first Art Blocks weekend. The company's footing the bill, but I have to go do this." He let me go do it. I got Eric to sit down with me for like an hour and a half and do an interview the very first Art Blocks weekend, which was wild. Because why would he ever take that time to sit down with me, somebody that is just reaching out cold? And it goes to show who he is. But by sitting with him through that interview, a lot was revealed about the glaring needs of the space, what we need to be seeing a whole lot more of, and the fact that there are already so many artists, even just in the generative art segment, that aren't being seen. They very much so deserve to be seen. Like, they're doing incredible work. So all of those things made me want to take this on, and it frankly makes me want to keep doing it every day, because I'm happy to be able to chase making a better positive impact for others as opposed to chasing what could be beneficial for my wallet.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome. And shout out Snowfro for all of the things that he does for the community and beyond just, making cool art and a cool platform and, moving like that. But he's done so much for the community. Speaking of art blocks, I know that we have later in the show our show and tell where we all, talk about, artists that are deserve a bigger spotlight. There's, some art that, you'd like to talk about that are special and significant in ways that you think deserve a bigger spotlight. Before we get into that, and one of those, or two of them actually, find homes on Art Blocks Mints. I'm going to throw this one up here, which is a really special project that I was not aware of until you made me aware of it. But why don't you? We'll just go through high level some of these projects that you want to spotlight.
Yeah, no. So the first one, and I appreciate you allowing me to share a couple on the show. I know that we have that opportunity to talk about individual releases that are really cool from artists that we want to make sure we get that light on later in the show. But getting to speak about it longer throughout the show is a lot of fun for me, because I love getting the chance to put more spotlight on different artists. In this case, the release over on Art Blocks that you're referring to is Frank by Dario Lanza. It launched just this morning, and it is, in my opinion, one of the most, it again, this is my opinion. It's a really emotional project that on the surface may not be seen as such. So I would really recommend people go and spend some time with this. But Dario poured like years of effort into a release like this. He is the type of artist who wants to go and do a lot of on the ground research. Even if you haven't picked up on it yet, the collection Frank is based on the Diary of Anne Frank, and he took all the time to go and visit the Anne Frank house, learn more about her story, but from there relate it to the modern day experience of like what it looked like to live in a state of confinement, and how that is not just an experience that was lived back then under extreme circumstances. It's something that we all have lived now. So to me, I think that there's a lot of really interesting parallels that were drawn there, but he goes on to tell a much richer and deeper story through the work itself. So I can't recommend people check this out highly enough. Like, it's definitely one of the ones to me on the week that has the most meaning.
It's phenomenal. I had time to go through it, and we'll have links to this and all the artwork that we share on the show in the afterwards. But really thoughtful conceptual piece in terms of why the materials he used are the materials, why we see subtle effects of light, and why it comes on the way it does, why patterns appear, how it relates back to the code. And I kind of don't want to dive too deep into that. I would rather people learn about it from Dario. He has a video. It's very compelling and explains all of the pieces to that thought process. But it's it's a piece that or a project that I wasn't aware of, but it is incredibly powerful, really,
Yeah,
just in terms of what art can do.
The one thing that I think made it really, really special, at least from where I sat, was the fact that the way he thought of it, and this is not something that you'll read or hear from him. It's very much so like theatrical, and I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, like this is just theater. I mean like he thinks about this like he's producing a theatrical production, right? An actual stage play. He has the blocking laid out. He has every single moment throughout this charted, and it all does come together into something bigger. There's the score behind it. There's the individual actors, the story, how it all comes together to be one larger theatrical play is what you're seeing brought to life here. That to me is what makes it really special.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. We'll stay within the art blocks universe, and we'll go to a very different piece.
Oh yeah.
Very different piece, but an artist whose social commentary is in our space, I would say, unmatched. And that's Guy with the Most Likes. This piece here, Nameless Dread. Why is this a piece that you felt compelled to spotlight?
So before I go there, do you guys remember when this came out?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
It was in a time that is not very dissimilar to where we are right now. And I don't mean that in the sense that like the world is on fire and everything's burning. I mean that in the sense that like the market was not great. I think sentiment was at a very low point, but then all of a sudden a drop came along that kind of brought a little bit of life back while also giving us a mirror to ourselves and to understanding a little bit more about what exactly it is that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. To me, this is one work that like, at least in my opinion, I couldn't live without. I really do think that it's one of the most ingenious collections out there, especially that he was able to do it in a generative format, which is wild considering the rest of his work is all, hand drawn, hand painted. So to me, I love it for that. I love it for the historical significance of like it being his first truly generative initiative. And I mean, like, how else do you arrive at a guy in a Zoom window with a toaster sitting in his own bathtub, like contemplating, I wonder if I'm gonna make toast today or if I'm gonna be the toast. That to me is it makes it really special to hold on to. So for me, that was one that I couldn't live without. But I'm curious what you guys think about that project in general, because I know that it probably has a place in the larger zeitgeist. I'm just curious what you guys think it might be.
I mean, I'm a big fan of there. There was also a benefit if you were a part of the top part of the ranked auctions. You got a physical, which you can see behind my shoulder. It almost kind of looks like the piece that we're looking at as well. But I enjoyed it. Well, one, I collected a bunch of his work. I think he makes really wonderful pop culture commentary on capitalism and consumerism. This one, I enjoyed it because even though it was after we came out of the COVID era, it feels like a relic of the COVID era where it's, I don't even think we use Zoom anymore, but seeing the Zoom UI used to tell the story is so, again, a lot of his work takes you back to an early 90s era. This one takes us back to the early 2020s where our lives were consumed by this UI. And so I think it holds up in its own way, both as the context, but also as, again, a throwback to a part of our generation's pop culture zeitgeist in that sense.
I think relic was a good term for that, right? Like this series felt like, I mean, anyone who lived through this in and who had to actually perform work during that time, right? Anyone who actually lived through this and was working from home and was in this, yes, it was great that some of us were able to work from home, but we also felt this sense of isolation. Nameless Dread is perfect for encapsulating that sort of cloud that hung over us while we went about our lives and were still able to do things, but felt very claustrophobic, and it felt very, I don't know. It was a scary time, and like there's something about that is beautiful that the art is able to bring us back to. So, I mean, not to completely echo what you said, but I agree with how that, made me feel as a collection. I also very distinctly remember when it was minting. I don't have one, but it was, I watched it be successful, in real time. I was out at the time. I happened to not be on a Zoom call, thankfully. I was with my kid and we were on a soccer field, and I remember seeing it and I was like, I'm gonna, hang with my kid now. But I was very excited because, like you said, the sentiment was down, but this felt like hope, right? It was like, oh, look, we can still make art in this moment. We can still have good things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I believe this was also made as part of the Glitch residency, right, in Marfa.
Yep. This came right off the Glitch residency, and I want to say this was, I think this was the first summer that I was writing the digest. So this would have been May of 2024 released. Maybe no, 2023.
I think it was right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 23. I started what I was doing in, I want to say it was September of 22, and then carried into 23 as like the first full year of it. But this to me was like something that I'll never forget, and weirdly, it's something that I always come back to during the summertime now.
It's also not a part of the Art Blocks 500, so it's jokingly considered Art Blocks 501.
Yeah, which is hysterical. But it's one of those things to me, like every single year in the summertime, regardless of what industry you're in, everything does seem to come to a grinding halt. And I mean, that's because marketing budgets always go to zero. Everybody's on vacation with their families, what have you. And at least for me and a lot of the people that I know here in the art space, it ends up becoming a time where like dread is looming overhead because you're like, how the fuck am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to actually move my life forward? How am I going to like survive in a time where everything is at a human standstill? So I always come back to this during the summertime for at least that reason. But I think that it's something that a lot of people can relate to, and there's a lot of humor to be found across the collection. So whether it's in this one or others, I think it's worth at least revisiting for a little bit.
Yeah,
do you find? Go ahead, Brian.
You tap it on something that happens every year, which is we hit the summertime lull, but there's always some sort of breakout release. In 2021, it was Fidenza. Last summer, it was Good Vibes Club. And there's going to be one probably happening right now. It might be one of the ones we talked about earlier in the show, but there's usually one that really survives and builds up over the summer and enters the fall really strong when people come back.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that there's a few that are competing right now instead of, just one, because I like it when when other artists, when people
for sure.
What I was going to ask is, speaking of coming back to this in the summer, Stephen, do you find yourself often going back through your collection, looking through the art? Because I know I have a lot of physical art. I know Brian lives in a museum. It's you look around your walls, you see art all the time. It's when there's art in your wallet, some people buy it and maybe never really look at it again. Some people look once, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. Do you find that you revisit some of the work in your wallet, or only a couple of pieces, or do you keep it on your phone? You know what I mean? Like how do you enjoy the art, if at all?
So I do enjoy it quite often, but I found myself, yes, I'm going to make a snarky comment here, guys. That's what I do. I used to enjoy it a lot more when I had a working token frame, but that really has died, and any hope of me ever seeing my token frame again has actually gone out the window. Thanks to some folks that I lent it to for some tech testing. But when I want to see it now, I really am kind of relegated to my phone or going on to OpenSea to look at stuff, which I don't think is an effective experience for viewing art. I think it needs to be a little bit like more broad optioned. Like, yes, I think that having a handheld device and being able to view art through that is a great thing. But it's not always that I want to see it displayed in small format. I want to see it big. I want to be able to blow it up on big screens and see it in all of its ridiculous glory occasionally when it is that ridiculous. But I do have a couple of pieces in my home that I have like physical prints of. So like getting the chance to see those every day brings a lot of joy to me. But I love getting the chance to experience it in multiple forms. That to me is the thing that we need a lot more of. And we need more experimentation with.
Yeah, I agree. I've been meaning to and don't have a digital display that I could just, and honestly, there's a lot of cheap TVs out there now, that like and I can build you can build yourself a little frame for things. Like there are cheaper options that are not obviously meant just for art, but like displays in general are way more affordable these days that, if someone wanted to, they could probably just, jerry rig something and get it going. But
I mean, after this call, let's just vibe code a phone app that casts and have basically a solution in like an hour.
I love that.
We're vibe coding our way back to white walls. I love that.
Let's do that.
There's also something else to it. Like when you look at even just like the materials that are being used, right? When you talk about like go out and buy a TV and like you can use that with a lot of the art in our space, like it can be computationally, what's the way to say this? It requires a lot of compute resources
Yes.
in certain cases. So like a television, for example, may not have the processors on board to be able to handle that. And that sucks. But if you can go out and find a way to combo together the right things, like I'll give a huge shout out to, it's the team behind, I think
FF1.
Yes, the Ferrophile. That was what I was looking for. I was like, why am I about to say the wrong gallery name?
Casey Ray.
Yeah, the FF1, I saw demos of it. I was blown away. I'm like, I wish I had the money for this shit. And I don't. But it's great tech. And if you can attach that to a display that can really show the work in a great way, I think that has a lot of staying power. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to, because I think it is coming, I'm just not sure when, is more like actual e-ink displays that will show greater color richness, but in that type of texture that we expect from print. That to me is what I think is going to be a really big breakout moment, but that's
definitely
that may
still
be
art.
me on the high horse.
Yeah, I keep seeing it for still art in these Instagram like ads, and I always look at them a little sideways because they look maybe a little too good to be true. I'm like, am I really gonna, for a few $100, am I actually gonna ever get this device? I feel there's an
They look good.
They do look
there's
good.
There's some in Times Square you can go see in person. They don't have the same color range as a really nice print, but it is nice that you can swap them out.
Yeah.
But it certainly has its limitations. But again, it's all progress.
Yeah.
We're all getting to a point where we're all going to have AR glasses, and all of our NFTs will be all over everything we look at.
Poppycock.
only 20 more years. No.
Speaking of things that are moving faster than displays, and the tech is moving faster than is able to keep up with. Let's look at one more piece before we go into our show and tell, and jump right into the deep end with ordinals and Bitcoin, and art. An area that's just expanding, even if it's a little bit slower. It's pretty cool to see what's possible. I know Bryan had a drop on ordinals that he tried to push the limits, by having basically an animation on ordinals, frame by frame, and everybody could collect the different frames, which that was pretty novel. What are we looking at?
Like you could just easily put a video on for like a low inscription cost. I feel
but
it's got the technology's gotten a lot better at
that's the fun of it. Like what are we looking at here? This is pretty cool. Nakamoto archives.
Yeah. So Bryan, the other thing is like, hey, guess what? It's a lot cheaper to inscribe right now when nobody's doing it.
Right. When all eyes. Well, I don't know. Adam Weissman just appeared and said hello.
Hey, it was a good nudge to OpenSea, but we'll see.
It was. We'll see if they do anything, but it's great to have eyes on it. What are we looking at here? What?
Yeah, so I do like that Adam was giving a shout out to ordinals, because I think that the ongoing statement that I love hearing the most in the ordinals community is the idea that ordinals are dead, and they really haven't been. They just got stifled for a while there. But for me, I believe in ordinals long term. I really do. There was a period in time where I was jokingly referred to as Stephen Ordinals Miller in the art community because I wouldn't shut up about it.
The first time I met you in person, you hosted a panel about ordinals in Miami with me.
Yep. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I love the community. I think they have a lot of really great art over there that is not getting a ton of eyes right now, that deserves eyes. And I wanted to shout out Nakamoto Archives for two reasons. One, yes, it's an early inscription, but it's by an artist who is not just an artist, he's a builder over there. Goes by the name Lifo FIFO. And he released this way early on in Ordinals, and it was a generative art experiment that centered on Satoshi Nakamoto's emails and blog posts. So it generated each of these unique outputs based off of certain inputs that were either an email or one of his larger posts about Bitcoin and the theory behind it, and what went into the ultimate creation of it. And this one in particular is based off of his very first email on Bitcoin. So it actually has backdating inscriptions and like other parent inscriptions behind it. I think if you scroll down on the page, you'll see like a tree, if I'm not mistaken, of like different inscriptions that it refers back to. Yeah, right there. That one in particular that you're hovering over right now, that is the source that it's actually generating off of. So that's the entirety of the email that it's calling or recursively pointing back to.
That's cool.
Yeah. So to me, I think there's a lot of history wrapped up in that collection. And because it's both a historical reference point and, in my opinion, really compelling artwork, because it's a lot more than just meets the eye there. He programmed a lot into it that makes it really interesting behind the scenes. But I think that for that reason, like I would love to see something like this gain a little bit more traction, because right now he's been a lot more so seen as a builder and a builder alone, because he's been building out a new platform for people to transact with ordinals on called ord.net. That's been, I think, one of the best marketplace experiences that I've experienced, period. Like he's done a really great job with it. It's extremely fast and it's super easy to use. So I want to give that like tip of the cap to him, because there's a lot that can be valued out of this collection, but also out of the other work that he's doing.
Great shout.
Yeah, very cool, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing our attention to that and helping spread the word. I know we have a friend of the show, former guest Billy Rusty, who does tons of work on ordinals, and he's got a collection that's coming out soon too.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
It does. It's really, it's pretty awesome.
He always makes really pretty stuff.
He does. All right. Well, speaking of pretty stuff and other artists,
oh my gosh,
we're kind of at that point, guys. You want to do a little show and tell, fellas?
Heck yeah.
Let's run it. Here we go. Oh, okay. We are back. Can you hear me? I'm going to just run for it. All right.
I hear you.
Awesome. This is the part of the show where each of us has brought 3 pieces of art we've either collected or just think is really dope and deserves a spotlight. Then neither of us has seen what each has picked, and we get to run around and take a look and explore. Also at the end of the show, on our Art First show on Twitter account, we will post all the links to all the art that you see today, and you can go and follow the artists and maybe collect some stuff and give them some love. So let's kick it off with Steven. For your first piece that you want to share is right here, this wildly mesmerizing, trippy piece. What am I looking at?
So you're looking at a collection that released this week called Morphland Abstractions by the artist Mason, or you can find him on X at endless_Mason. I'm a really, really big fan of his work. He's been putting out a lot, both on, actually not both, in 3 ecosystems now. I think he's released work on Tezos, ETH, and Bitcoin. But when I look at his work And I think that what you're going to find is like the common thread between the artists that I'm referring back to today across all three of the releases that we're going to show, that I picked out, is these are all artists that I believe work within the glitch world, which is not something that I typically plug a lot of the time. Like a lot of the time, a lot of what I really love and what I dive deep into personally is a lot more generative based. But I find that we're at a point where a lot more experimentation is happening within glitch, and it's making it a lot more compelling for me to actually look deeper into certain artists over there and to see more of what glitch art has to offer in this moment. And what Mazen's done across this collection and his past releases is like there's no way for me to say it other than just like it's entrancing and it's insane. Like the level of detail is incredible. So I couldn't recommend it more. But this collection in particular, I wrote up a little blurb before it. Like I write up for every single release in the digest that you can go check out if you want to see a little bit more detail on it. But you don't really need to read deep into context in this collection because it's just captivating the way these things lay out. It's wild.
I know this is mostly a visual show, so anyone listening might want to take a look on the replay if you haven't seen it. It is gorgeous. It is mesmerizing. This sort of slow motion undulation, the whole sort of aesthetic here is very pleasing, very satisfying to watch.
Yeah, I would say on our end, it's a little the frame rate's a little low, so I recommend people go check it out on their own browsers to see it play smoothly.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, there'll be a link for it. But man, that is really cool. I was not familiar with them.
Yeah, and that released over on daily.xyz this week. I actually think he sold out, which
Awesome.
is really, really great to see for somebody who I believe still is very much like up and coming.
Yeah.
So he sold out over on daily.xyz if I'm not mistaken, but the work in the collection focuses a lot more on landscape. And I think that he did some really insane work with it. Like I love the other works within the collection.
There's almost a little like a bit of a Noper vibe to it, just in terms of what I'm comparing, when I see stuff like this. But with this pixelation,
Mhm.
it's really, really awesome. I'm throwing it out there. It's good stuff.
Yes, I got the first
Very
good
cool,
stuff of the
man.
show, guys. Let's
There
go.
it is. Let's kick it off. It's nice. It's strong. All right, Bryan, you are up next, sir. What did you pick here? Let's see. Let's go from color to color. Let's stay within the rainbow aesthetic here.
Oh yeah,
All
well,
right.
shout out to Steven for pointing this one out to me. I didn't think about the fact when I picked it that it was the one that he had sent my way. So this is Louis 16, an artist that I've been collecting for I feel like 5 years now. I have a bunch of his super rare 1-of-1s and async and editions. Obviously, I think we're very aligned stylistically, but I've always appreciated like his graphic design sensibility to the work he makes. And yeah, he's been doing more recently a lot of these kind of pieces that are each frame's a different reinterpretation. And I thought this one was awesome, so I had to throw out a bid, and I was thankful to scoop it up.
It's great. It's so great. I love the motion in it. I love the energy, and also the if you had 3D glasses, I'd imagine it would pop right off the
Yeah,
frame.
it's got that chromatic aberration going.
It does. It's really cool. And it fits the moment that we're kind of feeling right now in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Things are not great, but you know what? If you meet them with art, that's how you can get past it all and get.
it's a good juxtaposition because I think one of the first ones I have of his is a guy holding up a sign with a smiley face covering his face. So, you got
I
the
remember
happy
that.
with the angry.
Very cool, man. Very cool. All right.
I'm just curious because I want to bring it up in the moment. Bryan, was this the one where I had sent it to you? And I was like, this is the weirdest way to give Bryan Brinkman the middle finger that I've ever seen.
I think so, yeah. And you sent it to me, and you're like, have you seen this? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I know it. I knew immediately. I was like, oh, it's Louis. He has new work. Cool.
The next is just going to be a video, Steven, sending him like, himself just say, have you seen what's in my hand? Have you seen this? Very cool. All right. Moving along. Here's a piece that I was able to collect recently.
Oh, nice.
Speaking of from one Dario to another Dario de Siena, this is Reorder. This is number 5045. Really fun collection. I've seen that. I saw this coming for a little bit, and I was excited when he launched it. Very, a glitch without motion, right? So it's like it feels like mid glitch. These sort of glitched out portraits,
Yeah.
and aesthetically, it hit right. This was a blind mint, so I didn't know what I was getting, but I gotta say, really like it. Really love the textures.
The X-copy mouth.
Got the X-copy mouth in there. Yep. And I'm sure lots of other, hidden gems, but really just like fun collection. And really nice to see it doing well and people really vibing with it. Yeah, I don't know. It was, it just felt good, and strong. And I really liked it. I love the colors on it too.
I dig it. I minted one as well. I collaborated with Dario back in 2021. And so I watched his journey progress, and he went from being this kind of physical portraiture painter to getting more into various other digital styles, and then seeing it evolve into this. This seems like a really cool kind of level up moment for him, where he created a piece that appeals to kind of both sides of the space, kind of the artsy side of the space and the degen PFP side of the space. And it melds it in a way that feels like a moment that might help bring some of the degens over to the art side in a fun way.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing again, like Adam Weitzman, he's such a huge supporter of the space. I know he picked up a ton of them. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a 10K PFP collection where every piece feels interesting. And he did it with this one. I imagine it took him quite a while to put it together, because I mean, he's always been grinding, but this kind of came out and really hit the nail on the head. So I'm really psyched for him.
Yeah, I especially love a piece like this that just has this Microsoft Paint elements in it. It's dripping with nostalgia.
I was talking to people in Lisbon. There's this phenomenon where if you do a collection like this, the lowest rarity, the least desirable ones define the project, because that's the first 50 pieces you see when you scroll through.
That's a good point.
And so the fact that his quote least desirable ones look good is a huge win. And a lot of PFP projects fail in that regard, where they make the least desirable ones look bad, and then you open up the project and you're like, oh, these are terrible. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you're like, oh no, you got to scroll to like the 400th one that they start getting good then.
Yeah.
It's a good point about making a good first impression. It's almost like if you make really good work across an entire collection, it would do well.
Yeah.
Or at least have a good chance, right?
When I did Nimteens, I purposely made the ugliest ones with the most pimples the most rare on purpose, because I thought it would be a fun reversal of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, with apes, like the ugly ones are at the floor, but if you made the ugly ones the rarest, then the most attractive ones are the ones that get scooped up and traded around more.
Ah, man, that's some big brain moves. That's good, man. That's smart. All right, Steven, we're
a marketplace-based ecosystem here.
I mean, we really are. And you're right. Like, if you're thinking about this, not just from a collection, but like, how is someone going to view this? They're going to see it on their phone. They're only going to see the first 5 pieces at best, that first impression, right? And so what are they going to quickly scroll? If it looks like crap in the first, click, they're out.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's look at things that don't look like crap.
All right.
Yeah. Like this piece right here that was collected by Max.
Oh,
Max
yeah.
Pretends.
This one's great. This.
Yeah. I will be the first person to admit I'm really sad that I didn't have ETH when I saw this originally came out, because this made the cover of the digest, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
nice.
I love Polygon's work, and I had not discovered them until I was doing my dive that week. But it sent me on a very big rabbit hole dive, and I went through a ton of their work. But this piece in particular, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce because I will butcher it, it translates directly back to English to basically love at first sight. And it tells a really beautiful story about what an individual experienced going through the process of like finding their first love or experiencing love for the first time. That I think is super relatable. But this is another example of Glitch that I think is taking storytelling into a new dimension. And I really, really love that. So like it calls on a little bit of vaporwave. It definitely has Glitch aesthetic throughout it, and statics. But I love the story it tells more than anything else. And also just a little plug it like on the artist in particular side of things. They debuted, I think it was at NFC Lisbon, their own TCG collection, which I thought was so freaking cool.
Oh, you mean these in my hands right here?
Oh,
yeah. It was one of the things I was like, I am so pissed I'm not in Lisbon right now.
Would you like some peanut butter to go with that jelly?
Yeah,
so jelly.
No, it was great. The packs are great. I should have bought more. I only grabbed 2. But also shout out Max Pretends, who collected this, former guest of the show, and I also got to hang out with him in Lisbon.
Nice.
Yeah, the Polygon, the trading card, the whole set they had was great. And I mean, they also that trading card set has a bunch of our friends also created some cards for it, like Louis. Daisy has some like special ones in it. Like, it'll be cool. It seems like they're building a strong start to that world there.
That's great, man. It's really cool to see storytelling in that format, right?
Yeah.
Something that I feel like is usually more implied and less narrative, and in terms of like, storytelling cinematics. Very cool, man. I'm going on it. I'm going for it. There it is.
Oh,
that's good
double,
stuff too.
Double good stuff.
Double
wow.
Good stuff. I'm doing it. Brian, you are up next. Let's stay within the glitchy realm right here.
Oh yeah.
Take a look at
another friend I saw in Lisbon, Flexosaurus Rex.
Very cool.
Who's been killing it with his vibe coded MTV replay site, which I think is like it breached outside of our ecosystem into the pop culture. He created a series of, I believe, 3 collections that were all very low mints. There was flowers, clouds, and then I believe there was like mountains or some scenery one that I have not yet gotten. You have to like burn the clouds to get it, which I have to do soon. But yeah, I mean, if you look through these, kind of knock these out. What do they call it? Stealth dropped them into the world and created these on seed pixel cloud collections. And I love clouds, especially generative cloud collections.
If you want Brian to collect your work, throw a cloud in there.
And it's just awesome to see Flex. I mean, if some might remember, he created a vending machine for Tezos. That was a great way to collect cards. And so he's always just making cool stuff, and really happy that he was able to mint out these 2 collections recently.
That's very cool.
I just love the fact that I'm getting the opportunity again here to see work that is outside of my purview. Like I managed to put together a ton every week, and somehow I still miss like 1 or 2 or 3 every week.
I will say that's, for what it's worth, all things considered, that's a good thing, right? Because that means that there's so much going on, more than we realize, and we need that, because sometimes it does feel like there's only 4 artists making anything at any given moment.
Yeah, I mean, like let's stretch that point one length further. It goes to show that these conversations are super necessary, right? Because it can't be just one person doing all the discovering. We need to have a dialogue about it, and this is what makes art discovery really fun. So I appreciate the fact that I'm getting a chance to chop it up with you guys on this, because this has been a lot of fun, just seeing different pieces. It's like, oh shit, how did I miss that? Like that's somebody that's on my radar. Like, what's going on?
I mean, that's the hope, right? Like that's literally why we're doing this, right? Because we hope that other people will get to see and appreciate the stuff that we see and appreciate, and then we get
For
all
sure.
get to learn more stuff. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving, and let's stay within the realm of cool, on-chain, glitchy, interesting projects and experiments. Right here, we are going into pattern retrieval.
Oh yeah.
Really, really cool here. I don't know if people are, a lot of people seem to have, found it.
This one caught a big wave.
It did. And Adam Leinig, it's really a really strong collection, and it's not. Sorry, he goes by Asterism, but it's not a huge collection, right? For under 500 pieces, but I fell in love with it. He shared it with me a little bit early, and I was excited. But the first time he shared it, I looked at it and I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't fully get it. But it is really cool on chain. Each piece even has its own music, which I can't play here because it's not going to work, trust me, but it's worth listening to and going into and exploring later, because he made music for each of these pieces, and it feels like it lives in the world of if Tron had a spa. That's the best way I could put that. And it's gorgeous, and they're beautiful pieces. And he made an incredible website for it as well.
Yeah, click into one.
I'll click into one of them here, and then this way we can get it going right there.
Because like he said, the thumbnail's not the art. The live HTML is the art. That's what he kept stressing on the timeline.
Yes, the live HTML is the art, and honestly, the music is the art too, in my opinion, because it's damn good. But then anyone could come ahead of time and mess around with it and like get familiar with it. So you choose different family, and then it would show you all the the permutations. And you can't hear this right now, but it's beautiful music, and you could then record what it's doing. You could download the image. But they're really it's one of those things where like and I feel like he's been working on different things, on his own, in a bit of a silo and not sharing. And then he once he came out with it was like, wow, like really strong art and vision. And then it's an experiment, right? Like this is one of those fun things that like you get to do with the tech and on ETH and trying like to make something new and different. And I think, I'm really excited. I'm really happy for him. Yeah,
I agree. And I mean,
it's
a subtle thing, but just his choice to give it that kind of screen dimension and glow, it gives it this kind of like Fallout feel. Goes a long way to like really pushing it into the stylistic mode. And yeah, I think, again, I feel like everybody was at Lisbon all of a sudden. He was there, and I was talking to him about it. I was sad I was not able to mint one, but he was showing me all the people on X that were like creating stuff with it and doing all this stuff. And it sometimes you really tap into this moment that really gets people making stuff, whether they want doing it for allow lists or because they like it or whatever. He really hit on something here, and it's not the kind of thing that usually hits in that circle of the space.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting. Part of it, he's built up a huge positive reputation in the space, whether it's through OpenSea or through collaborations and all this other stuff. So I think everybody's rooting for him and happy for him, because he's one of the biggest supporters of us artists in the space.
Yeah. He's a good dude, really solid, and really I don't know, right? Like the sentiment was not just myself, but a lot of us really excited to see him doing well, and the reaction that everybody had to this. And like you said, a lot of people made art in reaction to it, whether it was for the allow list or other things. But it was really cool because it became this like little groundswell movement of of cool art and
Yeah.
appreciation for it. So
I think Benny also said it nicely, that like he's not an artist, but anybody can be an artist. And I think that's something that has been stressed since the early 2021 days, but seems to have maybe gotten a little lost in the mix.
yeah,
Is that, you know, anybody, if you have a solid idea, the ability to execute it has never been more possible. And, you know, this doesn't require you to go to school to be an artist. The technology now it's a matter of how you make an interesting piece of art and then how you market it effectively.
yeah,
And you
And
crushed it.
yeah, absolutely. Very, very happy. And you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's official. Very cool, man. All right, we're gonna keep moving on.
What do we got now? What do we got now?
This
There's
is
Steven?
Steven. One more. This is
All
Steven's
right.
last piece. And I didn't say no. Usually I say, you know, hey, we've featured this person before, but good art is good art, man. And this is what he picked. Friend of the show, former guest,
Oh yeah.
and big fan. This is Jen Penapinto, Quantum Spirit. What am I looking at and why, sir?
So I had a really hard time picking my third because I knew it was going to be Jen, and I didn't know what I wanted to share because I like her stuff a lot.
That would have been awkward if I said no. Then you would have been like, "Well, how about this Jen piece? Well, what
Yeah, right.
What about this one?"
Yeah, I
She's
think
great.
that
She's great.
if you follow what I've done on color commentary at all, you probably already know this, but like I have a really hard time not bringing up Jen's work because I think that it is pushing into like very refreshingly new territory for Glitch. And when I look at this part of her collection in particular, um, I'm kind of just blown away because I think there's a lot that's going on within a very simple environment and like the changing of the frames that gives me like this life passing by or like life cycles passing by type of vibe and feeling. So for me, especially in a time where I do kind of feel like life is just passing us all by and it's evolving around us too quickly, this hits home in a lot of different ways. But I love her work across the board. And I think that she's one artist that is growing so quickly, at least in like both in her craft and in like the recognition she's receiving lately. So like I love to see it, and I'm going to contribute to helping her get that recognition because she definitely deserves it.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll find nothing but good things from us, right? Like we brought her on the show after, I can't tell you how many people have used her work as, examples of someone they wanted to share and show off, right? And like I said, enough that I had to say to some people like, okay, we should try to find somebody else because we've featured her, which is a great sign. And then we had her on, and she's amazing. And shout out to Jen for collecting one of my pieces just the other day. So really just supportive, but also, yeah, her work is phenomenal. And it's funny. I had seen this piece before, but I hadn't viewed it from the lens of passing by, which makes a ton of sense now. Like as soon as you said that, it clicked with me. Like the idea of just generations and generations, right, in this one environment and how it's moved through. But it's gorgeous, and like we've been fans of her work for a while. Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, what I will say is
give him the triple good stuff, man.
I'm bringing it in.
Come on, let's get the third.
I think if I talk that highly of somebody and not throw the good stuff, come on now.
The one thing that I guess I'm only thinking about right now, and I just figured I'd share it because I'm with two art appreciators, is the other part of this that I think is really interesting is it can be interpreted as something like the ever-changing nature of identity. That to me was the other part of this that was really cool to see that it could be interpreted in that way as well.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. That hits even more because of the idea that the frames don't change, but everything inside of it does, right? So it's sort of like, this is still me in my, environment. This is like the, if you will, sort of like the shell of, you know, my existence, but with inside that shell, so much is changing. Someone, you know, it reminds me, someone asked me the other day, because I was talking about, you know, how long I've been together with my wife for like 20 years. We've been together, and they said, you know, oh, you know, what's the secret? And I'm like, all right, well, there's a whole bunch of things, but one of the things is recognizing and understanding that the person that you meet is not going to be the same person that, you know, you know over time. Like, they're going to change, you're going to change, and you have to understand that, and come to terms with that, and be good with that, and embrace it. And so this idea of, you know, constant change and evolution within self is really, I don't know, it reminds me of that. So really cool, man. Great
Nice.
stuff.
Good.
We don't have a great stuff button, so
someday.
Brian,
I was
one
going to
day.
say, but stacking up 3 good stuffs. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
3 good stuffs equal a great stuff.
It's
There
like
it is.
Steven knows what he's talking about.
Almost, right?
Just like once every blue moon.
All right, Brian, we're gonna take your last pick here and throw that on. Here we go. This is Crimson Merlin, number 30.
So this is Muju. I think I'm saying his name right. I might be screwing it up.
Yeah, I think it's
another artist I got to sit and talk with in Lisbon last week, and he really got to tell me more about his workflow and style. You know, I would describe him as kind of like the 3D Sam Spratt. Looking through some of his work, he spends 6 months to a year on his one-of-ones, and they're all hand modeled figures in ZBrush and crazy amounts of work. This is a part of his 50-piece collection that he has a chat called The Guild, which he was nice enough to invite me into, and he gifted me this piece, so thank you. But it's cool seeing him work in this way of creating a ton of, doing these crazy commissioned huge pieces, while also trying to build up a network of artists and community around his work. And yeah, when I saw his work, my mind goes, oh, this must be AI. And then he showed me like the clay version of it, and I was like, oh my god, that is so much work. Like, I could never imagine, like, and like modeling in 3D, that is something I don't have the patience for at all. And so seeing someone that is just really good at it is always awe-inspiring for me.
That's amazing. It's unfortunate that AI has clouded our judgment, that we just question everything. And that said, things that are, that look like they're AI and then turn out to be like incredible, just labors of love and time, are that much more appreciated,
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know if you can pull up his stuff easily. Maybe if you click on the X icon.
I can try.
You can see some works, but oh yeah, up at the
They're
top.
always
Like,
super
oh yeah, so like
detailed,
that
right?
that piece right there, that first piece, like that's all modeled in 3D, like
It's insane.
in ZBrush.
That's insane. Look at that. Wow. It's incredible, really.
Yeah.
I love how I'm like trying to find a way to provide commentary, but I'm just like, I don't know if I've seen something like this before.
Right. I've been meaning to try to get our show on like an audio, only podcast app, but the second half of our show is generally just quiet silence in awe of art and us staring at artwork.
I will tell you guys, just from having the experience myself, don't. It like I come from a podcasting background. Like it's one of the core like parts of my branding agency that I ran.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to running an art show, you need to show and tell. You can't just tell. Like there's so much to it. The space that I ran that was color commentary before color commentary evolved into a live stream does not hold a candle to going visual. Like you need this. You need the visual.
Yeah. All right. Amazing. Okay. Here we go. We are I'm going to go the exact opposite route right now.
Okay.
In terms of how something was created and what you're going to see as a result. But I love it. And that is a piece that I collected from our friend of the show, Nuclear Samurai. This is Brain Rot, and this little pillow holding bananas is mine. And
Nice.
I have a handful of these guys, and they're all AI, but they're incredible. Some of them are wildly cursed, and some of them are. There very few of them are adorable. If I'm being honest, like there's this one I looked at, some of the more messed up ones, and I collected a few of them. But when I saw this, I was like, well, that feels just like something I would have and want. So I identified with like little pillow banana guy here.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of that Bananas in Pajamas characters.
Bananas and pajamas. Yeah, I hear they're coming down the stairs.
Yeah, this has bananas and pajamas in it.
It does, and it's kind of amazing. And this was from the larger collection, Brain Rot. That kind of Nuke really did an insane job with this collection in terms of what he put into it and how he made it. And there's a lot of training with AI agents that would all look and search through like TikTok and a lot of places where there was just this, incredible brain rot, content. And then it would talk to itself about which one was, the most compelling. And it was adversarial until it found, different traits, and it would mash things up in wild ways. And the collection is done really well. And then he's got more planned. Like I know there's going to be like AI judges that get to judge the different pieces, and then you can use that judgment to, at some point, I don't know fully how it works yet, to change the characteristics of your brain rot characters to make them more compelling. And there's burns, and I don't know, it's just really a wild collection. But it hit perfectly in the zeitgeist, and in the moment. And people have just, I don't know, when the floor was lower, it was just like, okay, I just got to get more of these. These are just, they're too fun. Yeah, I mean, I and the other thing, for what it's worth, it's a collection of 10,000, and they're all different. Like, when you think of a 10K PFP, you've got like the general outline of something, and then it's like permutations on that. This is not at all. This is 10,000 different images and characters that could in themselves be their own whole thing.
Am I puffing a little too hard on the hopium here, or is this, in your opinion, quite a leap forward for Nuke? Because to me, I think there's a lot that could be said about this collection in terms of it being a big growth moment for him.
You're not. It is a big leap. But he's been on a steady leap, if you will. Like this was okay. So a big jump based on just what he did behind the scenes to get here. But he has been grinding with AI and techniques and learning and experimenting for years now. And this, yeah, none of this was just simply put this in equals this. Like there's so much intention behind these things. So yeah, I don't know. I think you're probably right. I see this as like a collection that just, I wouldn't be surprised if it got like copied at some point, or some version of this, because it's just, it at the same time, it felt so obvious, but it's like it had to be done by the right person. And I think it was, if that makes sense. Right? Like anyone could have made weird, wacky characters, but he didn't just do that. Like he really went through the process of trying to figure out, all right, what is the most
Dolphin Dog is really good.
Dolphin Dog, like here, let me just scroll just a bit, because yes, I have a handful. So
Same.
talking about it,
pump our bags.
Pumping my bag, sure.
But
I'm also just
that penguin, that penguin you just passed.
Yeah,
was that straight out of Madagascar? Like what? Oh no, that's one of the ones that they couldn't put in Madagascar.
Yeah, unofficial. But then you got Just the idea that 9 different wild traits are in a character there, and they're also really fun to make memes of and mess with. Like I've been making AI videos of them, and so have other people. It's just been fun. He's got a chat, and it's a lot of fun in the chat. It's not like screaming about floor. It's just having a good time with these things. Like, oh my god, these things. I love like pickle with Karen hair. What is this? Some of these are so cursed.
It's the type of thing that like you go through and you're like, I'm pretty sure at least one of these secretly is going to be in Toy Story 5.
Oh my gosh, I wish. Yeah. I don't know, man. I can't say enough good things. It's really just like it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And he also has these one of ones that he made as well. And those were all based on pretty well-known memes in the zeitgeist. And of course, I'm looking for them, but I'm not finding it. Where is it? It'll probably be in here. Yeah. No. But they are really fun. Are they in there? Are they epic? I don't know if they're the epic. I feel like it's not that way. Apologies as I butchered not being able to find exactly where I'm looking for what I'm looking for. But there we go. There's some of these, like anything that's got like a 1 on it. Nope, those aren't even the ones. They're great, and I encourage people to go and just like dive in. I know it's my share, and I'm sitting here just going through it, but I really am just like I love what he's done with this collection. Yeah. All right. Because otherwise this will be the next 25 minutes of me just enjoying this one collection. Seems a little imbalanced. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Stephen, it has been a pleasure having you come by and hang with us for a little bit and do the thing you do, but with us, and uplift other artists. I'm going to give you, the sort of the last word there. If there's anything you want to either promote or direct people to or shed light on, please do so.
Yeah, no, I again really appreciate you guys having me on. I had a lot of fun with you here today, and been looking forward to this for quite a while. I know we discussed it off and on for a little while there, Adam, and just getting a chance to finally make it happen was a lot of fun. So I appreciate it. If you in the audience want to engage, feel free to follow. I would love to just continue the art dialogue on X, or you can of course check out the patronage over at thepatronage.art, which you can subscribe to for free there, or you can just check it out on my feed every week. But that's kind of my big plug, other than next week on Color Commentary, I've got a really special guest, and we're going to figure out how to host a guest without childcare next week. It's going to be so much fun.
Sweet.
It works, man. You just it's called life, and you just get through it. And everybody understands and respects it.
probably gonna be the first baby wearing episode of Color Commentary. So we'll see.
That's okay. We'll all be soothed, together.
Yep.
And you know what? Look, if baby cries, then maybe that art is not so good. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
It's a critique.
Low critic.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Check us out this time. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, do what you can. Have a good time. Be good to other people and keep art first. Take care, everybody. We will see you later.